Here's what we're going to talk about. Water-based, PVC-free alternatives. I don't embrace the whole core shell acrysols that are being produced by those manufacturers. I don't embrace that technology at all. In my opinion, it's a failed technology. That whole core shell, plasticizer, acrysol, in my opinion, and I believe I do a lot of testing. I do an unbelievable amount of testing. And that doesn't mean try everything several times. That's not what it means. It's testing versus testicles. Sorry, ladies. Do you have what it takes to do the other? And you've got to be pretty cluey with your testing. And I mean in your documentation, recording of information, writing down the variables. What did you do? Everything. Record that. That's more important than doing the testing. Packaging that information so that you can get a good analysis of your results, probably the most important thing about testing. Is if you get a good result or a bad result, if you can't reproduce it, it's a failed result. So you have to know what you did, how you did it, so those results are repeatable, so that you can verify if the test is good or bad. So that's a whole nother thing I can talk about. But anyway, these are the key points. You know, basically, it's not rocket science like we say, right? The only thing that we use for rocket science is a Newton per square centimeter, you know, just a unit of force. Well, basically, here's what I'm going to talk about today, guys. This is kind of where it works. And then at the end, we can open it up for questions and answers. Just trying to give out some love, you know? It's kind of simple. Brought a lot of samples. We do this every day. Every day. 52 automatics using 4 tons of this ink a day. 7 kilometers of long tables. I've got 1 million square feet of factory. I'm not up here to boast. I'm just trying to stand here and give you some confidence to go out there and get it done. You're here at a trade show. The answers are here. This stuff can be done. I don't stand on my head and do crazy stuff to get it done. I put the ink in the screen and I print it. 60 dot, 50 dot, 135 mesh, 160 mesh, 225 mesh, all day long. Okay, I've got 9 years behind me. Okay, I'm going to give you in an hour and a half what I can give you from about 9 years of experience. It's not that hard. There's just key points, guys. They're just bullet points. So basically, there's the lineup today. We're going to start with separations and film output. I'm just going to walk you through it. I'm going to spend a little more time on inks because I want you to understand more about inks. That's a new thing for you. I understand. It was a new thing for me. Talk about the difference between RFU inks and base and white with pigment, where you blend it and you make that ink. And then we'll get into the important stuff like how we set up the press and how we run the press. And something that is very, very important is the curing of this ink. You cannot get away like you get away with the type of curing techniques on plastisol. It absolutely is different, and you need to address that. So I print for big brands. I have to test. I have to jump through all those little hoops with the fire and the daggers with the blindfold on to make them happy. So I got to make sure this stuff works. And I do. I do everything I can to make sure my results are repeatable and consistent, like Mark taught me, you know, so many years ago. I have to set up those systems and structures to make sure this stuff works. It's not that bad. You know, we just start in the same place. Separations, film output, as you would for plastisol. You don't handle it any different. Just because you're printing this thing doesn't mean you separate any different. I would tell you, you need to go in and look at your dot gain and correction curves like you would as a good printer anyway, because this ink has a different characteristic than plastisols do. So you need to go in and take a look at that based on your setup and your shop with your machines and your screens and everything that you do, because these things have a different behavior, okay? So go take a look at that. In my opinion, they have less of a gain. But maybe later on, Mark will put me in check and explain to me that, Mark, you have more dot gain with this than I've ever seen. No. I mean, just based on my own results. I can see that I don't have the dot gain like I did with plastisol. So you need to go look at that in your film room, okay, too. Edge quality, come on. We're not going to do this with vellums and all this other stuff, guys. You know, edge quality on films is very important. Veil dots and all that stuff matters, okay? I was taught it actually makes a big difference. Get your film in order. Linearized output. Does the output of your machine match what you think it's going to be? If you output a 40% dot, are you getting a 40% dot? You know, are you linearized? That's important. Not just because of these inks, just because that's important for printing. You want to push yourself to that high level of printing, that higher level of quality? This is basic, guys. This is right at the grassroots. If it gets screwed up here, it's done all the way down the road. Okay? It never gets better. It only gets worse. All right. DMAX. Yeah, it's nice to have, right? It's important. Get it. Get it done. If you're having a problem with anything here today, you're at a trade show. Your answers are out there. Go out there and get it done. I'm not a religious zealot up here today, but I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm passionate about trying to give you guys some answers, okay? I don't know what you know, and I don't know what you don't know, okay? And I'm sorry if I run over you with what you already know, but I'm just trying to give it back a little bit, all right? I run 50 to 60 DPI. It's a comfortable dot count range. I'm happy all day. It's very predictable, very repeatable. Nobody has to get wadded up out there on the press floor because they got dots. It works really well. We'll get into mesh, halftone dot, mesh relationships later, but I'll tell you what I do to get the results that you see on the table that we do all day long, no problem. Elliptical dot, hope by now everybody understands the value of the elliptical dot, the tone transitions and things like that. It's very important, it works. It's important, use it, okay? Don't fight it. Angles, everybody's got angles, right? It's a good starting point, that's all I want to tell you. Good place to work from. A lot of times my factory, they love me so much, they give me one fabric for samples, and then when bulk comes, there's been a slight adjustment on the fabric and the stitch count and the yarn weight, and that whole geometry changes, and my printers come back to me and they go, well, looks like your 22.5 ain't working too well today, Mark. You got moire all over this thing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I go, where's the sample? I go, give me some sample fabric, give me the bulk fabric. Bing, bing, there it is. The fabric's causing the moire. Okay, guys, run the angle chart test. 6 different angles on one film, put it on the bulk fabric, choose the angle that works best, and run the production. Okay? Sometimes your substrate screws you up, and then you have to adjust your angle because your fabric geometry is not matching with all the other numbers. Simple, right?